And then how did you build both the world and the characters? That's a simple question.
Let me just answer that in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time answering the question, how did you like get the idea for this book? Like, I feel like it was like so many ideas that I just sort of was like, put these all into one book, it's gonna work, don't worry. And like a lot of it was, I was interested in like ancient history. I was interested in like times in which people believed that their world was coming to an end, which is actually a very frequent
thing. Oh, now I know why you like Now I Rise so much. Because the people in Constantinople really did think the world was ending.
They're like, this is the end times.
Because time is a circle.
Yeah.
And they were back at the starting point of the circle.
Yeah.
So it was going to end. Okay, that
so
makes
I
sense.
love apocalypse stuff like that. And I was just talking to my sister about this, that the word apocalypse in like Greek, like the original word, doesn't mean the end of the world. Like it means like a revelation, like the revealing of something. And so that idea was very interesting to me. And I was like studying a lot of stuff in college. I studied history about these times in which people really thought the world was coming to an end. And it happens a lot. It happened in like the 19th century in America. People were like, it's the end times, they're here. And so I was interested in that. And so it sort of became a book about this like world apocalypse, but then also these individual apocalypses for each of these characters. And all of them kind of coming up against something that A, was like the worst thing they could imagine happening to them, and B, something that was going to reveal something about themselves that they either didn't know or didn't want to admit, or something like that. So it was sort of all structured around an apocalypse, and these many different meanings of the word apocalypse. And it all just kind of came together through like the world building being sort of based on this like Mediterranean world. That gave me a lot of like cool world building ideas. And the characters themselves, I think, just as I was building out their backstories and sort of these things that they were most afraid of, figuring out like how the larger plot needed to be structured in order for that to work. So it really did start with them as characters, I would say.
Okay. So do you find that you start with concept or characters or
characters?
Characters
100%, yeah. My world building, I can't say this like across the board because I've only written a few books, and like this is the first one that's actually been published. So who knows how my process is going to change. But for the most part, I do start with character. And specifically, I start with like character relationships. So usually not one character. I usually start with two. And so in this book, I think I started with these two sets of siblings who were the sisters, Ephira and Beru, who would basically like tear the world apart for each other. And then I also had this pair of brothers, one of whom doesn't have a point of view, but they basically have the opposite relationship where their relationship is super fraught, somewhat abusive, and just sort of this like awful, like not good relationship. And so that's where I sort of started, was those two relationships.
You know, I love sibling relationships.
Yep.